In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, hello everybody, how are you doing? We'll be doing great by the mercy and grace of Almighty Allah. My name's NA Saqib. I'm your arts mentor, IELTS trainer. Additionally, been also teaching the students of spoken English for the last 20 years at the platform of Genius Institute, Lahore. Dear friends, today I've decided to give you a tutorial about formal academic writing skill. It's compulsory. The students who are preparing themselves for the exams like TOEFL and IELTS, actually it's extremely important for them to come to know how to write down formally and academically. So I've decided to give you some super tips regarding your writing skill. So let's get started. My first super tip would be keep it simple. What does it mean? It means that simple done accurately is better than complicated done inaccurately. It's a wonderful sentence. So let me repeat it. Simple done accurately is better than complicated done inaccurately. Let me explain it further. That it's better to keep things simple and do it well, rather than overcomplicating everything and doing it badly. There are some students, they're prone to write those sentences actually, which they don't have an idea about how to make those sentences. It's good to use compound and complex sentences, but if you don't have an idea how to make these sentences or certain types of these sentences accurately, don't go for this option. It can mar your scores. It's also a good idea to show off your English. You know about a lot of vocabulary, your lexical resource, or your grammar, everything is perfect. But still, use that amount of language or that part of grammar which you have an idea about, because it should be grammatically correct. So, writing correct grammatical English is compulsory in academic writing. And you know that by getting 7 plus or more than 7 band score, lexical resource plays an extremely important role, and that's the 25% of your IELTS as far as this test is concerned. And it means it gives 25% of your marks, or 25% of your marks are based on lexical resource along with 3 other things. So your sentences should be error free if you're looking forward to having good band score. My point number 2, or my super tip number 2, is prepare key phrases. What are those key phrases? I will just give you some examples of all those key phrases, but I will conduct a detailed tutorial later on all those key phrases. Just a few examples. And, for any academic formal writing, for example, in IELTS and TOEFL, you definitely prepare yourself, and you prepare also the key phrases. I'm going to share some examples. I'll share you a list of those examples. It also covers everything you need to know. And if you prepare this list, I must tell you very confidently, you'll be much more prepared for your IELTS exam or for any other exam of international caliber. So you can use these phrases. Number 1, the phrases for comparisons. Number 1, in the same way, at the same time, and similarly. So I would recommend you to get a paper and pencil and keep writing these key phrases. They are really important for making your essay very comprehensive and attractive and rather, up to the standards. Now, the key phrases for showing contrast. In contrast, on the contrary, however, nevertheless. For showing examples now, for example, for instance, to illustrate, for giving your opinions, from my perspective, from my point of view, for generalizing, overall, all things considered, and for expressing certainty, undoubtedly, and of course. Next is expressing partial agreement in a way, to some extent, showing cause, owing to, or due to, or on account of. For showing effect, for this reason, consequently means as a result, or hence it means as a consequence. Marking time, to begin with, following this, subsequently means afterwards. For adding information, furthermore, in addition, moreover, and besides. For expressing condition, unless, provided that. For concluding, to summarize, in summary, to conclude, in short. It may be concluded, overall it may be said, and to recapitulate. My super tip number 3 would be, do not use contractions. Contractions are used in informal day-to-day language and rather in spoken English. For formal and academic writing, they are not acceptable. And definitely do not use these contractions. You know about the contractions, for example, the full form is cannot, its contracted form is can't or can't. Americans say can't. Do not is the full form and its contracted form is don't. Will not, won't, shall not, shan't, should not, shouldn't, could not, couldn't. So these contractions are not allowed to be used in formal academic writing. And in your exam, for example of TOEFL or IELTS, kindly avoid using contractions. Rather use the full forms of auxiliary verbs or moral auxiliaries. My next tip or my super tip would be, number 4 actually, it is reduce your word count. Or you can say that avoid using certain words. What are those words? These words are actually the overweight, or these words are the dead weight, or empty calories, or pointless words, or these are the boring words. As far as academic formal writing is concerned, they can be used in spoken English. What are those words? Very, so, a lot, and really. In academic English, these words are pointless actually. They are empty calories in English. Instead, they should be replaced by some strong words. What are those strong words? For example, don't say, I'm really happy in formal academic writing. Say, I'm elated. I'm elated. I'm elated. Don't say, so scared, say, I'm terrified. Or use terrified instead of using so scared. You better just use the strong words and avoid these boring words in academic writing as far as academic formal writing is concerned. Another way to reduce your word count is to improve the quality of your writing, and that is avoiding there is and there are. These can be used in spoken English, but as far as formal academic writing is concerned, they are really empty calories. They can't be used, and they shouldn't be used rather. Sometimes they seem to be just fillers or extra words only, with no, with no importance at all. For example, if you say that there are many problems that we may encounter, you have used 8 words in this sentence. There are many problems that we may encounter. Instead of using these 8 words, you can make a 5-word sentence, and that is, we may encounter many problems. So the second one is better than the first one. You've reduced the word count, but improved the quality of your sentence or the quality of your language. That's important in formal writing skill. My super tip number 5 is read the right materials. Now, what are those materials which are right? Now, for example, articles, reports, essays, reviews. These are really right material because you can develop your sentence structures and lexical resource, range of vocabulary. So by reading these, actually, 4 things which I have numbered, you can improve your vocabulary and can improve your variety of sentence structures. My super tip number 6 is write and get it checked. It simply means that see if you could find somebody to check your written stuff. Getting your stuff checked is highly recommended, or rather strongly recommended, because in this way you will come to know about your mistakes and sometimes the blunders. So it's important that you must have somebody to get it checked. You can have plenty of resources. I would say that if you hire the services of a teacher who is properly qualified teacher, who understands about the formal academic style, has a lot of vocabulary himself, and understand about variety of grammar structures, it can be a good idea to get it checked by that by that teacher, because he will let you know what are the problems in your syntax and how you can improve your vocabulary as well. My next super tip is point number 7, for example, use stronger verbs. Now, what are the weaker verbs and how they can be, changed into stronger verbs? For example, he went around the world, and it can be changed by the stronger verb. He traveled around the world. Went was a weak verb, and we have replaced it with a stronger verb, and that is travel. The next example could be like this. He got an offer from the university, and stronger verb, he received an offer from the university. Now, the weaker verb, he is making progress. Stronger verb used, he is progressing instead of using making progress. So use formal verbs with more meaning. My third last tip would be, or super tip rather, would be avoid phrasal verbs. You might have taken ages to memorized the formal, phrasal verbs. You might have spent time to learn these phrasal verbs, but they sound more casual. So do not use these phrasal verbs in your formal academic writing. For example, do not use give out, use offer. I'll give you example in sentences. Give out free items. Instead of saying give out free items, you better use offer free items. Make up a new idea. Create a new idea. Instead of using make up, you are using create. My super tip number 9 is avoid repeating words. Avoid word repetition. Repetition is of no use. Rather, it reduces your band score when you're repeating one word time and again. So it shows that if you don't repeat the words, so it shows that you have sufficient range of vocabulary, and for this purpose, you should immediately start learning synonyms. What are the synonyms? Actually, these are different words with a similar meaning. An ideal example would be smart and intelligent. These are two different words, but they've got the same meaning. And moreover, you can have an online sport, a lot of resources available online as well, from where you can learn these synonyms. Or you can buy a thesaurus. It's a kind of dictionary which gives huge number of, it's a kind of dictionary, you can understand huge number of similar words. Or last but not the least, you can hire the services of a great teacher. Great in terms that who's a professional English teacher. You can hire the services of Genius Institute Lahore, where we are offering all these services. The last but not the least, my 10th super tip is a good reader becomes a good writer. As I say that, a good listener becomes a good speaker. If you've got a good input, you will produce good output. So it's a matter of input versus output. Make sure that you have lots of excellent materials. You keep reading those books. There are literary books like novels and dramas and all that stuff. But you need to read contemporary stuff for improving your writing skill. And make a list of your newly learned words and variety of structures. And I've been doing this job ever since I remember, right from my matriculation onwards. I've been making up my vocabulary list, and it's a elephant-like list now. It's a huge list, I beg your pardon. So if you keep in your mind all these super tips which I've talked about, I'm very much sure about your gorgeous success and rather thundering success. I'll see you with absolutely new videos in next sessions. Until then, God bless you all. Take care of yourself. Bye.